So I usually stick to unboxing things on my workbench, but this is the Arccaptain MIG205MP, and it comes with so much stuff that the box is just way too big. Now, let's see if we can open this thing up and just go through just the sheer amount of stuff that comes with it. So first up, you get your 110-240 adapter. Comes pre-installed, looks like, on the factory cable, which is pre-wired for that 240. This actually looks like a TIG torch with a control button on it. A lot of multi-process machines I've looked at don't even come with that stuff. They can do it, don't come with the stuff. This is your cutting torch. This looks like it went with the TIG stuff because it's a piece of tungsten. Here is your MIG torch. We got MIG, cutting torch, TIG. This is a weld cleaner. I've been looking at information on that. Cleaning torch is what they're calling it. Here's your stick stinger and ground, hoses for gas hookup, and you get a cover for your welder on top of whatever is in this box. Okay, so this is an argon pressure reducer. You get one of those in the box. As far as accessories go, this is one of the more complete loadouts because you get everything. Like I said, this is one of the more complete setups, but this is a nice little compact unit. It's very compact. The pictures, I'm gonna let you know right now, don't really do it justice. It's a little smaller than, in my mind, it's a little smaller than what I expected it to be, which dimensionally this thing measures in at roughly 17.5 inches long between its two furthest points, roughly 13 inches tall, and about 7.5 inches wide at its widest point. Oddly enough, though, it has no welding spool, no flux cord or solid core wire that comes with the machine. Flux core, if you wanted to use this machine for like rudimentary MIG welding, you could just throw your spool on there and then feed it in here, and it comes pre-assembled, which is kind of nice. There's a bunch of creature comforts on this thing, starting with the actual build quality. It's actually metal in a couple areas you wouldn't expect. Nice little pull tab release lever on the door there. As I said in the unboxing or earlier in the video, that is pre-installed, the follower there. You have knurled roller wheels up here that are clicky. Then you have these little covers for each port. Same type of build quality on the opposite side. In the back, we have an on-off switch, dual fans. A lot of the things on here are actually screen printed, where you would normally see something like a sticker. Like these two things are stickers, but everything else is nicely screen printed, even the warning labels up here. So here you have a nice relief on that cable right there. It's pretty long. And a lot of times they'll come with a little short cable, but not this thing. So you have your gas inlets right here. This one's for cutting. And I think, yeah, that one would be oxygen, or cutting and TIG go here. MIG goes here. Another one of those creature comforts would be this included cover, bag, whatever you want to call it. It has a storage pocket on one side and a storage pocket on the opposite side. So if you're on the go or you want to be able to cover your welder, it comes with one, and you can also take this Velcro off here and carry it. Very hard to do one-handed, but you can take the top off and carry it like that if you needed to, which, again, another creature comfort. And let me not forget the light inside the panel that's illuminated at all times, so you can see what's going on in there even in the darkness. Also, this thing can talk. You hear that?
Short circuit between welding torch and workpiece.
Now, you guys know just as well as I do that you can't really judge a product, let alone a welder, on its creature comforts. You got to turn the thing on and see what it can actually do. Now, this thing already sets itself apart by being a multi-process welder. That includes basically everything you need for the processes it can do right in the box. But aside from that, you can control the thing with your phone. Now, that's not to say that you have to use the phone to control the welder, because it does have these touch capacitive buttons along either side of this display, along with these knurled buttons or wheels that does control the welder as well. As you can see, my amperage is going down, and if I press this in a couple times, it's my speed there. It's my wire speed, and that's my gauge. So I can change my gauge here. If I start moving this wheel, boom, it starts changing the gauge of wire or gauge of material I'm working with. But in synergic mode, it will switch back and start changing other things. So if I click through here and I change my wire speed down to 60 inches a minute, that says, as you saw there, it went to 50 amps, and that's a 25 gauge material. Now, some of us have been here. Here I am underneath my rusted out, crappy Chevy Silverado, working on a project under here, and the welder is actually clear on the other side of the truck. But there have been times where you're under something and you forget to change a setting, or you have it in the completely wrong mode. Well, it's nice that I could just whip out my phone and change that setting without having to get up or wiggle my way over to the actual welder to change that setting.
So I think my welding speed was a little too fast. So I went in and actually changed the feed speed, and it changed the setting on the welder and actually saved the parameter. So I should be good to weld a little bit slower on this right here. That was a lot slower. So like, let me see if I can move you and get a better shot of this. I mean, I'm no professional, but that looks pretty good, dude. All from changing the parameter on my phone. Now, the phone connects via Bluetooth via their proprietary app, which controls everything you see here. Now, there are a couple grayed out ones because it's in synergic mode, which I think controls most of the welder. You just set up your wire speed, tell it you want it to feed differently, and you're good to go. I put my flux core and the size of my wire in there, and you're producing welds like that. It's in the wrong mode. Watch this. Well, when I press the button, it's auto feeding, and I don't want it to do that. So we're going to change the operation mode to 2T, because that's not the mode I want it in. I want it to weld when I want it to weld and not do its own thing. That's why I'm getting extra lead out like that. Let's see. Ow. Yeah, so that's better.
Okay, now let's take a second to see what it takes to switch this thing around to make it make a cut. I should have everything I need. I have my cutting torch right there, my air fitting right here, which I'm gonna have to turn it around throw that. Huh. We need an adapter for that. So let's see if I had one of those. Okay, we just had to do some jank to make this work. This is a spare adapter or spare piece of hardware for the actual hose. I guess they're considering if you break this part, you can replace it and recrimp the end. I guess they're saying, but this, the thread on that piece is not actually matching a pipe for America. It's this piece. Here, we'll just show you. Here's what I would use to normally adapt to a bigger size for our standard air fittings here in America. And that will not go there. Just won't do it. It's too small. But that spare piece they included, I went ahead and tapped some thread into there. So we can make our air fitting adapt to here. Chuck this up in my vise here and we will, yeah, just as long as you thread in there, yeah. I'm gonna screw this back onto there. You could kind of tell I didn't get that straight, but it's okay. Now, when it does come to switching, it doesn't appear you actually need to disconnect anything you have going on here. You might need to reverse the polarity of your ground or earth cable, but all you need to do is plug that little guy. And this is a 2-pin port, and that's a 5-pin port, so you really can't mess it up. But we'll plug that guy right into there. And then we'll move over to this, and you just screw it in here. You can leave the rest hooked up. You can wind up your MIG torch and just set it out the way. You don't actually have to take it off. Okay. So we're going to switch the mode to cut. Now already it says something's wrong. So let's take this out.
Please pull out the adapter.
This one?
Please open the pressure reducing valve.
Okay, look, listen to that. So it wants air pressure right now. It sees there's a problem. So let's go turn on the air compressor and make sure it's getting pressure.
Open the pressure reducing valve.
Get our air hooked up here. We got air. So let's turn the compressor on. Boom. You can see that as soon as I gave it air pressure, that turned green, and now the machine is happy. It did make me unplug this adapter down here, which is for when you plug or when you're MIG welding. Let's see what happens if I put that back in. So it doesn't like that it knows that you should not have that adapter in when you're cutting. Can I do this? If I do this, yes, that is actually changing the pressure. So we can come up straight out of the box. I didn't do anything other than what I've shown you. I went and started the compressor. That's about it. But other than that, you've seen all the changes I've made. Let's see if we can actually turn around and make a cut now. Boom! So the fans are actually pretty loud for this thing, and it's why you can't really hear what it's saying, or maybe the microphone can't pick up what it's saying. I can hear what it's saying, but it's saying panel locked. If I try to change this, it says long press the knob to unlock. So you have to press that, but I think you can still change the air pressure. Let's see. So even though it locks the panel, you can make a minor adjustment to your air if you need more pressure to cut. But all you have to do is long press this knob. Panel unlocked, it says. We'll set it at the 20 and see how it cuts. We did change the pressure though. Yeah, that's what it is. So this thing, after it sees, or after it loses that arc, it's like shutting off. Let's cut this piece off and pretty much call it. Wow, fast. And that's only 1/8 inch thick steel. And I'm still on 110, so like, this thing is kind of awesome. Now, I don't know how much I went over this, but each one of these handles is actually pretty well built. It's plastic mostly, but they have an inlay rubber at the handle portion and pretty nice feeling triggers. And this is actually screwed on. A couple of these I've seen before, they just press on there, and the handle itself is free to have a little bit of wiggle room, just like the opposite end of that torch piece. Now when we move over to that cutting torch, again, it's nice, well-built plastic with a rubber inlay. Everything you see red is there. It's a nice little rubber. Now you can see it's getting dirty from my hands, but yeah, this is shielded to prevent from accidental triggering. And yeah, and this part comes pre-assembled. So like, this doesn't have the wiggle room though that the MIG torch does, nor on the other end, because it's just literally airline and a trigger. But when it comes to the TIG torch, we actually have what looks like a decent built TIG torch. It just have a trigger or a remote zip tied directly to it, which this is pretty much the setup I've seen a couple other guys kind of run their TIG torch, just have the remote just zip tied to the handle there. But that's the TIG torch, and when it comes to the stick stinger, it's passable enough quality. I wouldn't expect any more out of them when it comes to the stick stinger. When it comes to this Arccaptain MIG205MP, I've shown you two of the processes that it can do. When it comes to those other processes, can it stick? Yes, it can. Can it TIG? Yes, it can. Does it come with everything you need to do those processes aside from your gas and or your filler rod? Yes, it does. There's one other process that this thing can do that I didn't show you, which comes down to this thing being able to do weld cleaning. It's a process that's usually reserved for something like stainless steel and discoloration of it, and making sure that that discoloration doesn't affect the ability for it to prevent corrosion. And it's usually something reserved for machines that cost thousands of dollars just for that process. So it's nice that they include that on top of everything else you get. You get some of the bells and whistles from a really well-built machine, as well as well-built torches. But that's it. That's all I have for you. The Arccaptain MIG205MP is available at the links in the description down below. If you like this video, make sure you drop a like, get subscribed, and consider checking out the support links also featured in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.